Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. You see the thumbnail. I'm not trying to waste any of your time. I'm getting tired of what I've been reading, what I've been seeing, what I've been hearing when it comes to the New York Giants really trying to push this narrative that they're going to fire Brian Daboll but keep Joe Schoen, and that, Joe Schoen deserves to be here and he's done such a... No, he has not. No, he has not. No, he has not. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why I don't believe that Joe Schoen deserves to be here still and Brian Daboll be fired. And again, I feel like both of these guys do need to go. And we do need to create a new regime, because at the end of the day, the New York Giants head into 2025. And it's looking like the New York Giants are going to reset this team. You don't really have a choice. The team is being reset. And a lot of people keep arguing like, we got to give these guys enough time. We got to give these guys a chance to pick their own quarterback. What if we get rid of these guys, it's going to be an entirely new rebuild. I don't want to do a complete new rebuild. That's what's going to happen in 2025 anyway. Whether we keep Joe Schoen or decide to fire Joe Schoen, 2025 is a complete overhaul reset. Well, not an overhaul, but a reset and a rebuild from what happened in the previous 3 years. And who's been in charge for the past 3 years? Joe Schoen. I got a problem with that, because 3 years into the regime, the New York Giants should not look the way that they look right now. Lost. Bad, awful, the complete bottom of the NFL, the bottom of the NFC East division, but also the bottom of the NFL. We are the bottoms of the bottom. As a New York Giant fan, I can look at over the whole entire NFL and say, you know what? Every one of these teams can beat us. Every one of these teams can beat us. Why? Because we are the worst team in the league, and we became the worst team in the league on Joe Schoen's watch, Brian Daboll's watch. But since I really don't even have to talk about Brian Daboll, because the consensus is that Brian Daboll is gone anyway. But I have to address that they're really trying to push Joe Schoen on us for another year. And to me, the number one reason why I think that is a mistake is this. If we decide to keep Joe Schoen and we move into 2025, even if we do draft, that top quarterback, in the draft this year, what's going to happen with the other picks, the other 8 picks? What's going to happen in free agency? Joe Schoen has already proven that he does not draft well. We've seen 2022 and 2023. We give him all the credit in the world for 2024, but I can't look past those first 2 draft classes. There's been more misses than hits. When I look at the free agency period, we keep having to replace the guys that we already replaced. Replacing guys that we replaced the original 53 with. And then when I'm looking at this year, we still have issues with depth on the offensive line and the defensive line, whether it's starters and backups. And you've had 3 free agencies, 3 draft classes, and we still have the same holes that were here before. Now, this has been a year. We've had issues with the offensive line since way before Joe Schoen got here. I understand that. But he knew that when he got here, that the number one issue was offensive line, obviously, and quarterback as well. But you should have been able to fix one of those things. I understand Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones. You inherited Daniel Jones, but you also decided to keep Daniel Jones, so he's absolutely your quarterback now. But you knew the 2 biggest problems for the New York Giants were the quarterback position and the offensive line, and you didn't fix any of those in 3 years. Why do you deserve to be here if you can't fix one positional group, let alone the team? And again, we have more holes now than we had in 2022 when these guys got here. You can't tell me that 3 years ago, when we're sitting in December of 2021, we knew Dave Gettleman was out of here. We knew the kind of problems that the New York Giants had. And now you fast forward to 3 years later, December of 2024, just like December of 2021, we're in the same exact boat. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have an offensive line, really, when you think about it, or at least the depth. But also, we don't have a defensive line. We don't have any secondary pieces. At least going into 2022, we had McKinney and also Julian Love. But now we sit here. There's no McKinney. There's no Julian Love. We got Jason Pinnock. He might be gone. Tyler Nubin, I can't wait to see what he does if he develops. Tay Banks looks like he fell off the map. We don't know who's going to be on the other corner. What are we doing here? You can't tell me that we are not in a different place from 2021, December of 2020. We are back in the same place. So it's almost like, just like COVID came, time stopped for the New York Giants. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Some games were played. There was some celebration in 2022, but outside of that, it feels like it doesn't even exist anymore because the New York Giants are at the bottom of the bottoms with a regime that's not brand new anymore. 3 years into this regime, but the New York Giants still have no identity, and we are the worst team in the league. Why would anybody say, you know what, things might change? Let's just hold on to Joe Schoen and see if things change in year 4. Are you kidding me? In no other aspect of life on this world do you say, you know what, after 3 years of seeing bad things, maybe that 4th year is the year that everything falls in line without major changes. And we need major changes, and it's just not the head coach problem, because the head coach is the one cooking the meal. The GM is the one that got you the groceries. And the New York Giants aren't cooking a thing right now. All the groceries are expired right now. It's just all bad when it comes to the New York Giants. The other thing is this. The amount of pressure that Joe Schoen is going to have. We already see what his decision making is with no pressure. That 2022 draft class, there was no pressure on Joe Schoen at all, and he had a bunch of duds. The best person out of that draft class, in all honesty, is Micah McFadden. You had Evan Neal. You had Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal. You had Wan'Dale Robinson, Joshua Zudu, Cordell Flott, Dane Belton, Daniel Bellinger, Marcus McKeithen, Darius Beavers. He made those picks with no pressure. In 2022, Tay Banks, JMS, who I absolutely loved, Jalen Hyatt, Eric Gray, Jordan Riley. Who else am I missing? Javarius Owens. And that's coming off a successful year in a playoff win. No real pressure. Bad picks. Now you're talking about a guy that's going to be under the microscope on the hot seat starting off. How is that a good environment for your new quarterback that you plan on drafting in 2025? GM's on the hot seat. How is that good for anybody coming in? It's not good. Because guess what? It's not a full overhaul or a full reset, because if you get a full reset, you get a little bit of time. But you can't tell me if the New York Giants in 2025 are bad again that Joe Schoen is going to get the same amount of time. He's not getting another 3 years to try to build this thing up. No, they're going to be calling for his head already, like they're calling for it right now. So New York Giants, John Mara, do yourself a favor. Right now, I understand you don't want to do it. You don't want to make wholesale changes, but you have to do it for the team. Not just for the team, for the fan base as well, but also when I talk about the team, it's about these young guys on the roster right now and some of the star players that you have right now. And complete change is needed, because guess what we did? We wasted a lot of careers in New York the last 10 years. Wasted Odell Beckham's career. Wasted Saquon Barkley's career, with this team. Is Dexter Lawrence going to be next? Is Andrew Thomas going to be next? We just got Malik Neighbors. Is Malik Neighbors going to be next? We don't have this time to play around. Guys are getting older. You have some players that are in their prime, about to meet their prime. When are the New York Giants going to be competitive? And guess what we're doing? We're taking on the emotions of the head coach right now. He's erratic. He's out of control. What's the play on the field? Erratic and out of control. Joe Schoen is clueless. What do we look like? A clueless team. We're clueless on the field because we're clueless in the offices. So when you say the New York Giants don't have an identity, you know what? Now that I think about it, we absolutely do. The New York Giants have the identity of their coach and their GM right now. One guy that's lost and frantic and out of control, and another guy that's lost, doesn't know what to do, and doesn't have a plan. And when you look at the New York Giants play on Sundays or play whatever on game day, they're out of control, they're not disciplined, they're clueless, they don't know what to do. We have no answers, and on top of that, we really don't have a team. I hate to admit it, but Mike Lombardi was right. He said, when I look at the New York Giants, I see a bunch of players, but I don't see a team. And when you look at it on paper, it looks pretty good. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas, Malik Neighbors. It looks like it's pretty good. But when you take a step back and you're looking at the entirety of the team, like when you're looking down the list of names is one thing. But when you're looking at the depth chart and what the team actually looks like, you're like, oh, he was absolutely right. This does not look like a team. It just looks like a couple of players. A couple of good players sprinkled around. But as far as a team, it does not work together. Whether it's the defensive scheme, the offensive scheme, whether you want to put a lot of blame on the quarterback or the quarterback that was here, or you want to blame the trenches. There's a lot of blame to go everywhere, anywhere. Point to a position group, and there's problems there. Problems now and also problems in the future because we have not fixed anything yet. We just threw things against the wall to see if it stuck, and everything fell down. The spaghetti's not done. You threw it up against the wall, it didn't stick, it fell down, it's not done. And after 3 years, the New York Giants should have had some things sticking by now. In year 3 of regime, we should not be winless at home. In 3 years in the regime, we should not be averaging under 15 points and sometimes 10 points at home. That's not what 3 years of regime looks like. That's a first year of regime. That looks like a regime that is on its way out and not just the head coach, the entire regime. And I was looking at Bobby Skinner's video with Talking Giants, and he's made this point a lot, and a lot of other people have been saying it as well. He wasn't the first person to say it. But if the New York Giants decide to keep Joe Schoen and fire Brian Daboll, they are looking past their own history. When do you learn from your mistakes? We've done this 2 times already. Kept Jerry Reese when Jerry Reese should have been gone. Kept Dave Gettleman when Dave Gettleman should have been gone. And now we're going to do it with Joe Schoen when Joe Schoen needs to be gone. If you can't learn from your own mistakes, I don't know what to say. And again, this sucks when you're talking about people's livelihoods and all the people that are affected underneath, just the GM and the head coach as well. It sucks. It sucks a lot. But guess what? This is the NFL. This ain't built for the soft people. It's not built to be kind and gracious and stuff like that. No, this is the NFL. Hard decisions. Results driven. And the New York Giants don't have the results. After 3 years of a regime, we should have at least some results. We should have at least an identity. We should have a clue of what the New York Giants could be next year. We're talking about the 4th year. 2025 will be the 4th year, going into the 4th year of a regime. And we are sitting here like we're in the 1st year with these guys that have been here 3 years. I can't do it. I might have to do it because I'm a Giants fan. That won't change. But I shouldn't have to do it. John Mara, Steve Chish, somebody has to say, you know what? I understand it's going to be uncomfortable. I understand that it's not going to feel good. I understand that it might look crazy that we're dumping another regime. But until you get something right, you keep on trying. Show me that you're trying. Show me that you care. A complete overhaul is needed. There's no shortage of GMs out there. There's no shortage of head coaches or coaches, period. We thought we landed the right one in 2022. We thought we had the right combo of Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. It looked pretty good. But with the words of John Mara, from Bono to Bozo, and he was talking about, the coach, but that goes for the coach and the GM as well. We already know when it comes to the family, the Mara family, there won't be a lot of changes with the staff when it comes to those certain Maras or families and stuff like that within, the Giants organization. But as far as the general manager goes, and as far as the head coach goes, you have to pull the plug. You have to pull the plug. There's no more there's no more waiting. There's no more I want to see what these guys can do, or there's no more, we could trust the process. I don't trust this process at all. I don't trust the guys that are in charge of this process, because the guys have shown that they don't get the results. The New York Giants, again, are the worst team in the league. The New York Giants have planes flying over the stadium with signs telling everybody to fire everybody. The New York Giants have fans in the stands with paper bags over their heads. The New York Giants, when just their name is mentioned in conversation, create smiles and laughs. I was at the Five Guys yesterday, right? I was at Five Guys yesterday. And I was walking out, had my New York Giants hat on, the same hat that I have on. And, I held the door. I saw a couple coming in. I held the door for them. And the husband walks past me. He says, "Oh, man." He looks at me. He says, "Oh, man, I'm a New York Giants fan, too. It's been tough." And I said, "Yeah, it's been the worst." Listen to the fan base, John Mara. So, and a lot of people say, "Oh, the fan base. If you do things for the fan base, you shouldn't." Don't do it for me then. Don't do it for the fan base. Do it for yourself. If you respect yourself as an owner, as an NFL team owner, you should be making this change as well. I know it sucks for you every time they have the owners meeting and you walk in the building. As one of the oldest franchises in the league, and nobody respects you. Nobody respects you on the field. Everybody thinks you're a joke. Everybody says your father's rolling over in his grave. But you're worried about how it looks, optics of turning over a regime. No, how about how you look on Sundays? Because every time they do a close-up shot of you in your press box or in your box, you have a disgusted face. Every time they show your GM, he looks lost and confused. And every time you see your coach on the sideline, especially now with them glasses on, it's just bad optics all around. Awful. Brian Daboll has aged like he's the president of the United States. He doesn't even look like the same man that was here. His fire is lost. The only time you see any kind of fire from Brian Daboll is when he's upset or when a mistake happens. There's no joy. He doesn't come into work now with ready to go. He knows he's on the hot seat. He knows his days are numbered. Why not do the right thing? Put these guys out of their misery, man. Because 2025 is not going to help. 2025 is not going to be the year where the change just happens. I don't see it. A lot of the fan base don't see it. And I know you don't see it either. A complete overhaul is needed. Period. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.